keep standing firm on your beliefs and your morals, have faith in them, and know that the answers will come. Know that what you needed, the way that you needed to be loved, the way that you needed to be cherished in a relationship, could not be given by that person. And so you had to move on and you had to go in your direction. And there's nothing wrong with that. Stand firm in your conviction, stand firm in your belief and your faith, and know that what you're looking for, what you deserve, is coming. Today I want to talk about breakups. Breakups are hard and breakups are not fun, but there is so much beauty within them. There is so much learning, there's so much evolving, there's so much growing. There is honestly a birth of a new you within a breakup. And so I want to give anyone that's kind of going through a breakup a little boost and share some of the things that have helped me work through breakups. The first thing I want to say is that you are on separate paths. You break up because two individual people decide to go into separate paths. Obviously, there's the emotional part of it where we're like, it hurts my heart. And then there's the mental part of it where you're like, did I make the right decision? What are they doing? Miserable? Oh, sad. And we start looking back and seeing what they're doing and what path they're on. I want to remind anyone that's going through a breakup that you are on two separate paths. You two are no longer together because you are going in two different directions. And I know for myself, the question that follows that is, well, whose direction is the right direction? Because I believe that this is the direction that I should be on, but why they not coming in that direction? I start to overthink and say, well, was I right? Did I make the right decision? Or were they right? And did they make the right decision? And what I had to come to realize was that we are on separate paths. And there's no way to find out who was right or who was wrong by looking at the other person's past, right? How often do we do that? We go on Instagram, we start checking what they up to, what they doing, what's new in their life, And really all that does is set us back. When I used to run cross country, right? Long distance running, our coach would instill this into our minds. Never, ever, ever look back when you are running. The second you look back, you slow yourself down. And the same thing applies when we are going through a breakup. The second you look back, the second you look to the right or to the left to see what they're up to and what they're doing, you slow yourself down. Because you're focusing on something that does not matter. They are no longer in your life. They are no longer in your life, and so they have no influence over your life. You looking to see what they're doing, what they're up to, does nothing but slow you down, does nothing but have you second guess who you are, second guess your worth and your value. And so when you are going through a breakup, remember that you looking to see what they're up to, you looking to see if they was right or if you were right or looking for some affirmation, really just slows you down. Second, the only way to move forward is to continue moving forward. I know it sounds silly. I know it sounds like it's obvious, but we get so confused sometimes. Sometimes it's the simplest things that are so complex. You will never know if you made the right decision until you continue to move forward, until you continue to live in the present moment. I was thinking about the power of presence the other day, and it all just came to make sense to me, So often we hear that we should be still and we should focus on what's here and right now. And it really hit me the other day when I was just contemplating and thinking about life. When we are in states of confusion, when we're doubting ourselves, when we're thinking, oh man, what's the future gonna hold? Did I make the right decisions? Our mind is filled with so many thoughts and chaos and ideas. And the only way to sort them out, the only way to find clarity is simply by being present. And I know in today's day, for me, I struggle with social media, right? I hate being on social media all the time because I can literally feel it clouding my thoughts and clouding my judgment. I start to adopt people's ideas. I hear someone talk about a breakup, a relationship is supposed to be like this and like that. If he doesn't do this, then he don't really love you. If he do this, then he love you. And it's like all these thoughts and ideas are in your head, and you start to lose sight of your own original thoughts. And it's almost as if it's subconscious because you're intaking and subconsciously these things become a part of your psyche. But it's important to come back to center and be still is to sit in silence and say, okay, I got a lot of questions right now. I got a lot of uncertainty right now. And the only way that I can find that clarity, the only way that I can sort out all this junk is by simply being still. I think of the analogy of a pond, right? When the pond is muddy and mucky and murky, we can't see through it. But when we allow it to be still, the mud settles. The dust and the debris or whatever's in the water settles and it becomes clear. And when it's clear, we can see, there's some froggies. Oh, there's some fishies. So cute. Oh, so much life. Right? We start to see everything that's in there because we allowed it to just simmer. We allowed it to be still for a moment. And the same thing applies with our lives. When we have questions and doubts and fears and anxiety, we gotta give our minds some time to settle. We gotta step away from the social media. We gotta step away from some of our friends sometimes, from their opinions and their perspective and their judgment sometimes, right? We aren't always perfect. Our friends don't always have the best opinions or advice, and so sometimes we gotta step away and we gotta just be still. Allow God to speak to us, right? Because He speaks in silence. If we're constantly listening to podcasts or constantly out with friends, constantly seeking for answers through other people's thoughts and experiences and ideas, we can't come to our own understanding. We can't come to our own conclusions. It's in the silence that our conclusions come. It's in our silence that the answers come. It's in our silence that God communicates directly to us. The third thing that I want to remind you is that they could not give you what you needed. A lot of times we go through breakups and we start to overthink and say, well, it could have been like this and it could have been like this and I could have done this and they could have done this. But in the reality of things, when we really come down to it, they could not give you what you needed. And so you decided to go in two separate paths. And that goes both ways. You probably couldn't give them what they needed. And it's fair. I think of my last relationship and how things ended. And as sad as a breakup is, there is so much beauty within it. There's so much learning lessons. There's so much growth that comes from a breakup. I know for me, this sounds kind of sick and twisted, but I know that whenever I go through a breakup, I grow exponentially. For some reason, a breakup it's like a renewed energy. And I feel like it's because I learned so much about myself, so much about people, and so much about the world that it's like my mind just explodes and I start growing in so many different directions. But what I was going to say was that I feel like in my last relationship, the kind of admirable thing about the two of us was that we started off our relationship with everything going great. We was on this road, skip-de-dip-de-doo, skip-de-doo, life is good, life is great. Oh my God, I can't even imagine how amazing this is. I found you, you found me, ah. And we was just like in La La Land. And so picture this. This is the analogy of our relationship. We're in the forest, skip-de-dip-de-doo, and we get to a fork in the road. And so we're both at the fork in the road. We can either go left or we can go right. And so the obvious decision for me was to go right. And I look back and he is not coming right. And he's looking at me and I'm not going left. And so everything was perfect until we came into this fork in the road. And the beautiful and admirable thing about the two of us was that we were so headstrong on our decisions and what we stood on that neither of us were going to budge. I was going right and there was nothing to talk about. Like, I'm going this way. And he was going left and there was nothing to talk about. He wasn't gonna budge. I was so firm in my beliefs and the way that I wanted a relationship to be, and he was so firm on his beliefs and what he wanted a relationship to be for his life, that he wasn't willing to bend or twist. He was standing firm in his, and I was standing firm in my ideals, right? And so when we're going through a breakup, remember what you stand on. Remember what you stand on and why you made the decisions that you did. Stand firm in your beliefs, stand firm in your morals, stand firm in your foundation. The only way to find out if that was the right decision is to keep walking and keep going and see how it plays out. That's how we live. That's how we learn. So many times we're so afraid sometimes. We're so afraid sometimes to be wrong, to make mistakes. But the greatest lessons come from making mistakes. Don't be careless. Don't be ignorant. Don't just be wild and free, okay? We got to keep it a little bit balanced, but don't be afraid to stand firm in your beliefs. Don't be afraid to make decisions that you feel convicted in. And the answers to that conviction will come with time. There's no knowing who's right or who's wrong until you live it out. Stand firm in your beliefs and stand firm in the direction that you're going in, and don't let anyone turn you away from that. If you're wrong, you're wrong. You can always turn back. Maybe not to the person, but to the ideals. And so the reminder is they could not give you what you needed. You have your morals, you have your values, you have your ideals and what you see for your life. And if they're not willing to give you that, if they're not willing to come on board with that, might not be the right person for you. Probably isn't the right person for you if it didn't work out. And remember that there will be a person that fits your ideals. There are so many people in this world. There is going to be someone for you. There's going to be someone that has that same vision and ideal of life as you do. They're coming. They're out there. Guaranteed they're out there. There's so many people in this world. But it takes time. It takes patience. Maybe it's not the right time for that right now. There's so much beauty within singleness. I know for me, I feel the most me in my singleness. I feel the most freedom in my singleness. And this kind of scares me sometimes because I'm like, I don't know if I'll ever feel this with someone else, and I'm not trying to be single my entire life. But, you know, we give it to God. We give it to God. But yeah, if you are going through a breakup, remember these 3 things. Remember that the only way to find out if your decision was right is to live in it. Keep standing firm on your beliefs and your morals. Have faith in them. And know that the answers will come. Know that what you needed, the way that you needed to be loved, the way that you needed to be cherished in a relationship, could not be given by that person. And so you had to move on and you had to go in your direction. And there's nothing wrong with that. Stand firm in your conviction, stand firm in your belief and your faith, and know that what you're looking for, what you deserve, is coming. God is always good. He always turns things around to something good. He never leaves you out in the desert forever. There's always a comeback. There's always love to come. There's always love to be shared. And so have faith in that. Know that the answers come from being still. Know that when you have these questions and you have these doubts and you feel the urge to go on their social media or connect with them, know that the answers come from being still. And so the answers aren't going to come from what they tell you or what your friends tell you, but simply from settling in your stillness and allowing God to speak to you, allowing life to speak to you. So these are my pointers. These are the things that I would remind you for anyone going through a breakup. Know that things are going to be fine. Know that you're deserving of love. And know that the love that you deserve in the way that you need it, in the way that you deserve to feel it, is coming. I promise you it's coming. We on the same boat, girl. I'm hopeful. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you guys have been doing to get through breakups, what realizations or what kind of things have been helping you, what really set you free. Let me know in the comment section below. I love you guys. Until next time, peace and love.